Hello viewers, today we are back with another episode in Pharma Talks. So today's talk is going to be focused on the overseas education for the pharmacy students abroad. That is, many students after the UG courses, they want to go to abroad and they are to pursue the career opportunities. Either they want to do a MS program or they want to do after PG, they want to do a PhD program. So all this we are going to discuss. What are the career opportunities available in the foreign countries, and what are the universities they can select? What are the how to select the universities, and what the universities expect from you? What are the basic test or qualities you should have after your UG or PG to get into those universities? And if you get into those universities, what will be the scholarships or benefits you can avail? So all these things will be discussing in a short. We have a very good guest with us, Mr. Anthony Joseph. He was a alumni from Wales who has studied his pharmacy in 2005 to 9 in Wales University, and currently he is working in as a consultant type of thing, and he's recruiting for many universities. So, and he's going to give an outline for all the students who is having an interest to study abroad and pursue the career abroad, because nearly 25% of the students want to pursue the career abroad and want to do it in a foreign university. So all this thing will be helpful for the students. So now I request Dr. Satish to give his opening remarks. Then after that, we'll introduce the guest for the day.
Hello, good evening, viewers, and very happy to meet you again in this beautiful platform. See, in everybody's life, there must be a flash that we should work at least once in a abroad country. That means in USA or Canada or somewhere we have to work, and at least for many reasons. The reasons may be different, but there may be a flash in everybody's mind that at least we should go for an education or for working at least a few 1 or 2 years. We should stay there and work and get exposure to this international community. That may be the thing in everybody's mind at least once in a lifetime that may arise. But many people might have slowly erased it due to their family situations and financial situations. For different reasons, they might have erased out of their mind. But this Pharma Duo talk show is very particular about hard workers and those who want to achieve their goals. So in this episode, we took this as a theme, that those who want to go abroad for education or for working for any reasons, maybe for financial purposes or for having an exposure, or maybe the reason may be different. For any of these reasons, if anybody with a pharmacy background who is wishing to go abroad, please don't miss this episode till the end. So we have, as Sarah already told, we have a beautiful personality with us today in the talk show, Mr. Anthony Joseph, who is very pioneer in sending the candidates for higher education as well as for jobs to various countries. So in this direction, I think that this show will be very useful, and a lot of things we are going to discuss in this show about what are the requirements. Already Dr. Shanmusundaram sir mentioned what are the things that we are going to discuss, particularly what the university expects, what an employer expects, and what sort of skills that we should develop within this to achieve our goals of going abroad. So with these remarks, I hand over the platform to Dr. Shanmusundaram. Please, sir.
Yeah, it is indeed a pleasure to invite the guest, Mr. Anthony Joseph, for this show, who is going to enlighten us with the various career opportunities for studying abroad. So now it's time for the guest to introduce, having a self-intro about himself. After that, we'll continue our show. Anthony, please.
Thank you so much, Dr. Shanmusundaram and Dr. Satish. Indeed, it was a warm welcome and introduction. Hi viewers, good evening everyone. My name is Anthony Joseph, and currently I'm representing the University of Newcastle, Australia, and my role is in developing partnerships between academia and industry interface. Uh, I'll just quickly share my screen. Yes. Yeah. So in today's session, I would like to talk about the overseas study options for pharmacy graduates. And before that, as introduced by Dr. Shanmugha Sundaram, I'm a proud alum of Wales College of Pharmacy. The tenure I spent at the Wales College of Pharmacy was indeed the best in my life, I would say. And wonderful memories. And in fact, my 4 years of pharmacy education was a stepping stone in my career as well as in my professional area, which allowed me to explore various and multifaceted career options, that is within pharmacy. Usually when we talk about pharmacy, we either talk about marketing or production or manufacturing, but there are various other areas, and there are a lot of opportunities not only within India but outside India as well. So let me quickly talk about the factors influencing your study abroad decisions. So there are various factors out of which I want to talk about a few factors which are prime in deciding or in assisting your decision. The first one will be the country preference. Of course, each one of you would
Sorry
want
for
to.
interpreting. Sorry for interpreting. If you could able to make it as a slideshow, then it's okay. You'll be having more
Yes,
visibility. Yeah, thank
perfect.
you.
Yeah,
Please.
thank you so much, Dr. Satish. Yeah. So the first preference is, which country you would want to study your master's degree from or your bachelor's degree from. So yes, there are various options: United States of America, UK, Australia, Europe, Canada. There are a lot of options. So first, decide which country you want to study, and then look at the program selection, whether you want to do a master's program by coursework or master's by research program, or we also have students who are looking to do their PhDs as well overseas. So choose which program you want to do and which area you want to study, whether it is pharmacology or pharmaceutical analysis or organic chemistry or pharmacovigilance, drug discovery. There are various subsections as well in that. So see which you are very strong at and choose a particular program. The next one is the university type and ranking. Ranking is important, especially when you want to apply for a program. You would always look at what are all the top 200 companies or top 200 universities in the world, or what are all the top 100 universities. So go with the rankings as well, both global rankings as well as country specific rankings. And also choosing a university, whether it's a private university or a public university, is important. The main reason is public universities, which are government universities, has a lot of funding, so that helps you to apply for PhDs. Choose your universities as well based on their orientation and funding, which is one of the most important aspects when it comes to overseas education. How much are you willing to spend, to get your degree overseas? And the funding can be through various forms. It can be through family sponsorship. Your parents can sponsor, your relatives can sponsor. It can be through bank loans. Yes, as international education is considered, students are allowed to take up to 80% of the tuition fees as bank loans. And there are various banks, public banks and private banks. There are also other private lenders who can help you in taking loans. So do your research on funding opportunities as well, and also make sure that the amount of loan you are going to take is within your budget, or within your capability to repay. That is important. And most of the banks will also ask for collateral. So when I say collateral, these are the properties required to apply for bank loans. So the some banks will ask for collaterals as well. And program duration. Yes. If you see in UK, majority of the universities offer a 1 year program, whereas in US, Canada, and Australia, you will see 2 year programs. And students might think, hey, what is the difference between a 1 year program and a 2 year program? Am I going to learn a 2 year program which is concised into a 1 year? How is it going to work? So, see, as long as the degrees are considered, and if the universities are accredited, there won't be any compromise on the degrees issued by the universities. Some might think, hey, 2 year program may be better compared to a 1 year program because the duration is more. Not like that. It all depends on the courses, the modules that you're going to take. That is important. So go through the program structure and understand what are all the subjects covered. For an example, I myself is a graduate from Kingston University in London. That's where I did my master's. So after my bachelor's at Wales, I did my master's from UK. So this is where the reason why I chose UK as a destination is I can complete the master's program within 1 year and I can move into the job market. So students who are looking at completing the program quicker and entering into the job force can look at 1 year program. And students who want to take it at a medium pace can look at a 2 year program. So duration is also important. And the next one is the examinations that you are planning to take. You know, some universities will ask for GRE, some universities will ask for English proficiency test, which includes IELTS, TOEFL, etc. So that is also important. You should go through the university's requirements, academic requirements, and you should fulfill it. Again, it's not necessary that you have to do a master's program only in pharmaceutical related subjects, because students will also look at doing an MBA after your bachelor's, which is again a very good move in case if your main focus is on, entering into the marketing side, and MBA would definitely help. And even with pharmaceutical marketing companies, will look for students, or when they look to hire candidates, they look for a combination of a bachelor's in pharmacy with an MBA degree. That really helps. If your main focus is into business development areas. So in case if you're looking to apply for an MBA, please make sure that the university requirements are met. Especially some universities will ask for GMAT scores. In that case, you may have to appear for a GMAT and submit the scores. Um, so you have to have enough knowledge about, or do your research on what are all the academic requirements by the universities, and then start your application process. And the last one, but not the least, the stay back option. The reason why I kept it at the end is majority of the students will first think about, hey, what are my stay back options? But the case should be the hierarchy selecting a country or a university should be in this way, because almost all the countries are offering stay back options. The US is giving you 2 years, Australia again 2 to 3 years, Canada 2 years, Germany 1.5 years, UK 1.5 years. So stay back options are available, but that shouldn't be your only focus while shortlisting a university or your higher studies. And when I say stay back, that typically kicks in as soon as you complete your program. And for that, you should successfully complete your program. Then only you will be eligible for a stay back. So applying to a university overseas is equally important as completing the program and getting the master's degree or a PhD degree. That is also equally important. So stay back options are also there. So you have to do your research on which countries are offering what type of stay back options, what are all the clauses included in that. And moving on to my next slide, scholarship. Yes, of course, this is also another vital reason behind shortlisting a country or a university overseas. And I would like to talk more about scholarships, and that's why I wanted to have one particular slide on scholarships. When it comes to scholarships, do as much research as you can to find out what are all the scholarships available from the university, and at the same time, are there any government funded scholarships available as well? And most of the scholarships are merit based. So if you are looking to get good amount of scholarship, please do your bachelor's degree well. Try to score more marks. That is very much important, because most of the universities will consider your profile for scholarship if at least you have about 70-75%. So work hard in putting your maximum efforts in getting very good percentage in your bachelor's degree. That is important. There are also sports scholarships offered by some universities in some countries. So, if you're good at sports, you can utilize that. And some universities will also offer you teaching assistance, especially for master's students or PhD students. You can apply for teaching assistance after during your studies, and so you will be able to apply for teaching assistance if you have a very good rapport with your professors. So that is important. So as soon as you start your master's degree or a PhD degree overseas, you will be monitored by your professors, and if they find you are talented enough to do a teaching assistant, then they will offer you the same. And then comes embedded internships, which are also, there are some universities offering internship as a part of your master's degree, and that is there. And as international students, you are allowed to work part-time jobs as well in certain countries. The usual working hours will be 20 hours per week or 40 hours per fortnight. So so that helps you in managing some of your expenses. Moving on to my next slide, a documentation process, which is important. So you did a research on which country and which university you want to apply to. Don't stick on to just one university. Always have multiple options. My recommendation is at least apply to 4 to 5 universities, so that if you're not getting selected in one, you always have a backup option. So at least make 4 to 5 applications, and also have a spread, that would help. And most of the universities, in my experience, I would say, look for a very strong SOP, which is statement of purpose. As pharmaceutical students, we are used to the word SOP, which is standard operating procedure. But when it comes to applications, it's the statement of purpose, where you write more about why you want to do the particular program, why you want to go to that university, and what are your future goals. And make it clear and concise, and not more than 500 words. No one is going to read a lengthy SOP. So it should be to the point and within 500-word limit. And the other documentation process are your academic documents and transcripts, letters of recommendation, which is very, very important. And for students to get the letters of recommendation, you should approach your professors in your bachelor's university where you're doing your bachelor's. Uh, I'm always proud to say that my letters of recommendation to Kingston University was given by Dr. Shanmugasudaram while I was studying at Wales College of Pharmacy. And in case if you have work experience, please make sure that you provide work experience certificates as well, because that is also required. So whenever there is a gap of 2 years or 3 years, the university would want to see what were you doing in that period. Are you idle, or were you working for a particular company? So that is important. So if you're working, even if it is for 6 months or 1 year, that's absolutely fine. Please share your work experience certificates. And as I said before, English proficiency tests like IELTS or TOEFL or PT examinations are important. My next slide, what next? Yes, I left this slide blank purposely. The main reason is, students might be thinking, okay, fine, these are all the various process involved, but after that, what? As I said before, do your research. That is important. Start your research from your third year itself, so that you will have ample amount of information while applying for your dream university or the country where you want to study. Talk to your professors, talk to your lecturers. They they're indeed one of the vital resource, for you to assist you on taking up your next step as in studies going abroad. Interact with them as much as possible, because they have enough resource and enough knowledge to guide you on the same. So that is important. And concentrate on your bachelor's degree, because as I said before, whatever the percentage you're going to score in your bachelor's is going to help you end up in your dream university, because the university will only look at your academics, and then they will recommend, or you will be eligible to apply and get an offer letter from the university. So concentrate on your studies. Of course, there is visa documentation process as well, which by itself is a huge topic to cover. But then there are a lot of educational agents who can help you with visa processing and other regulations relating to your student visas. But during your third year and during your final year, these are all the points you need to keep in mind. Decide on a country, decide on a particular subject, talk to your lecturers, talk to your professors, understand what is your area of strength, and apply to those particular universities. So with this this brings my presentation to an end. So I'll stop sharing my screen now. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it is a very good introductory thing for any student. What are the basic requirements if they want to go for higher education or higher studies in different countries? So to start with, so you have mentioned some UK, USA, Canada, and Australia countries. Okay, so what are the which
Yes.
country you would prefer to be the first country for the easy? I am talking about the easy way of getting admitted. Formalities in which country is lesser compared to other countries?
Okay. So when we talk about the formalities to apply, most of the countries will have the same application process. But if you see area, especially for pharmacy, US is always one of the top destinations, and then comes UK and Canada and Australia. So students who are looking to apply, they can always consider these four countries. And especially when it comes to pharmacy, these are the countries which has developed research areas.
Okay. So what is the? You said you have mentioned about some the competency exams. Okay. Is that if the
Yeah.
student passes the exam is sufficient, or they look into the scope of the particular competency exam also?
Yeah. So in these competency exams, there are minimum scores the student needs to achieve to get entry into a particular program in a university. For example, most of the master's programs would require an IELTS of around 7 overall, which no individual bands less than 6.5. So students should achieve this level of IEL score to get into a particular university. GRE, GMAT, I would say 600 plus would be ideal. And GRE, most of the universities might look at around 295 plus to be eligible for their master's programs.
So my question is, you are talking about that family sponsorship and bank loans. Okay.
Yes, sir.
So can you highlight on what is exactly the family sponsorship and what are the bank loans? Whether you're talking about Indian banks or you're talking about the foreign banks, which is the country the student is selecting.
Yes. So when I say family sponsorship, that's basically the savings that the parents are willing to spend on their kids to go abroad. So students, if you have enough savings, you can utilize that money. Or students will usually apply for bank loans from India. So they cannot apply for a loan from the foreign country. That's not possible. So students will usually apply for bank loans from India. And again, in India, there are government banks like SBI, Indian Bank, IOBs, etc., offering loans, and there are private banks as well. Those offer bank loans for students, especially for international studies, for higher education.
Okay, it's over to Dr. Satish for his questions.
Mr. Anthony, we talked about various aspects of this studies. I specifically have a doubt if a B Farm candidate in India, there are two aspects. One is B Pharmacy and another one is PharmD candidates who had passed their pharmacy graduation. So for particularly a B Farm candidate, if he wishes to go abroad for a higher education, what will be specifically their choices of graduation there?
Okay, you mean so usually students will go for Masters of Pharmacy overseas after their bachelor's. Students will look for Masters of Pharmacy. There are also programs, which leads to PhD. Students from Bachelor of Pharmacy program can do a master's leading to a PhD as well. And in masters, there are two types. One is masters by coursework, which are they have to write examinations to clear it. Whereas there is other one which is masters by research, which is more research oriented. So they have to submit a thesis at the end of the program for that. So these are the primary areas, two areas. One is masters by coursework and masters by research.
Okay. Allied subjects, many students say that they can select
Mostly
allied
masters by
subjects.
research to the PhD.
No, I'm asking about a particular specialization other than pharmacy. What allied areas they can choose? Many students used to say that I am doing some sort of biological studies. Some candidates told that I am biomedical research. Like that, so many allied areas they used to say. So I'm not very clear about what this sort of allied subjects can provide, or what opportunities are available in this allied areas of pharmacy.
Yes. So yeah, when we talk about the allied areas, so during our bachelor's of pharmacy, we study about all the subjects. Whereas when we want to do masters, we look at the specialization, as you rightly said. So here, students, we have pharmacovigilance, which is gaining a lot of popularity these days. Many students do masters in pharmacovigilance, and now there is a new trend called health economics. A lot of students choose health economics as well, especially coming from a pharmaceutical background. Then we have analytics, because when it interpret this data and come out with the research findings. So students are also interested in doing analytics after Bachelor of Pharmacy. And we have pharmacology, as I said, organic chemistry and analysis are very popular. And they are traditional. Most of the students will look for either pharmaceutical analysis or organic or inorganic chemistry. But the allied areas are also gaining popularity. In fact, there are a lot of opportunities for students in these allied areas of research. I know few of my friends did, a course on medical writing, after their Bachelor of Pharmacy, because drug manufacturing companies are also recruiting students for medical writing jobs. And, we have drug discovery. I have a friend who did his master's in cancer biology after his Bachelor of Pharmacy from India. So when it comes to allied subjects, there are a lot of options for students to choose, especially coming from a pharmaceutical background, where we learn all the aspects of chemistry, biology, and health-related subjects. We have a lot of options to choose. So
okay, when you're looking for an higher education, whether this BPharm students, BPharm completed graduates, and PharmD graduates are equally seen, or is there any variation among them for getting an opportunity for higher education in Western countries?
I'm so sorry, Dr. Satish. I think I missed you in between.
Oh, it's again, I'll repeat it, no problem. Whether this pharmacy graduates, particularly BPharm graduates, as well as PharmG graduates, both are equally considered for admission or for all these courses, or is there any variation among them? So I want to hear from Anthony, whether there is any variation among these two set of candidates.
I'm really so sorry, Dr. Satish. I missed you in between. So if you could just repeat the question.
Yeah, definitely. I think some internet connectivity problem is there. And
Yes.
My question is whether the PharmD graduates and BPharm graduates are equally considered for higher education, or is there any sort of differences? Because one is industry oriented and other one is clinical oriented in their curriculum wise. So is there any variation in opportunities available for higher education in Western countries?
Yes. So the advantage for a PharmD student from India is he can directly apply for a PhD overseas. Whereas when it comes to a bachelor student, they have to do a master's and then a PhD. So that's the main variation because according to the educational framework, students with a PharmD qualification in India are eligible for a PhD directly. And that will be mostly on the clinical side. Whereas students from bachelors, they cannot apply for a PhD directly. They have to do a master's leading to a PhD. So there is
Okay,
the difference between these two.
Okay, whether these PharmD graduates also have to secure all these eligibility conditions like TOEFL, GRE, and all those things are required for them, or is there any variation among their scores are available for it? Any sort of flexibility is available for them?
So when it comes to flexibilities, of course they get credits for the subjects completed already. That is possible. Whereas when it comes to the English proficiency test, that basically depends on the universities recruiting them. Let's say a student who is completing Bachelor of Pharmacy for 4 years, and of course in India the medium is mostly in English. So some universities can give them an exemption based on their bachelor's degree as well, and they can directly recruit them without the English language proficiency, just purely based on their bachelor's. Some universities can recruit them. That's absolutely fine. So the English language proficiency is a general requirement, but when it comes to universities, they decide if they can recruit a student purely based on his bachelor's.
My question is, Anthony, many students will be having an idea to study abroad, but they may not be knowing the basics of how to apply and how to proceed, what exams to take, which country to do. So, is there in those type of students, how do they proceed? Whether they have to go to any consultant or they can apply from here directly, or they have to see any advertisements, or in what way they have to initially start up?
Yes. So for students who wants to get more information about the academic requirements of particular universities and in general how to apply, there are various educational consultants in India that they can approach, and they can provide you more information. In fact, there are also a lot of educational fairs that's happening in and around India, and students can participate in that. In fact, my decision to study at Kingston University was mainly because during my tenure at Wales College, we invited Kingston University's delegates to a university. So the Kingston University professors were visiting Wales College of Pharmacy, and that's when I had a chance to meet the professors. In fact, the person who was here, Dr. Stephen Barton, he himself was the head of pharmaceutical department at Kingston. So that made me to choose. So students who are studying at particular universities, you can also see what is the relationship the university has with foreign universities. Many universities sign an MOU with foreign universities for sending out students. So that is there, and some universities will also have international development team within their campus, where a team will be there to assist their students who wants to go abroad and study. So there are various options for students in that. And the best source is also for students to do their own research. Now, the students can go to any university website, and under the requirements, they can see what are all the requirements for a particular program. And that should also be there because students should also put in their effort to try and see what information they can get initially.
So, actually, you initiate the talk itself. I want to ask you how your journey in higher education started after your B Farm. Whether you had an intention to directly go to higher education in foreign countries, or it happened as as you said, you met some people when they were in coming to as delegates in our university. Or how did it spark happen for you, and how many universities you applied, and whether you applied for one university or multiple universities? Just you talk about your journey of getting higher education.
Absolutely, sir. So until my third year, I have I was not even considering going abroad, to study. Like all others, I was either, planning to do M.Pharm back in India itself, or work for a few years. That's what I initially planned, and that's when I was given a very good opportunity to interact with the delegates from Kingston University. So I still remember that's where, sir, we have our MBA department. That was the time when our MBA faculty was established, and we had a huge convocation hall. That's where the delegates from the Kingston University did a seminar, and that changed my perception a lot. That's when I got to know that there are a lot of opportunities outside as well, and that's when I decided, fine, UK would be an ideal option. Consider, because I want to do a program which is just for a year. I don't want to spend 2 years on my higher studies. And I thought UK would be an ideal option. And my area of interest was into analytics, pharmaceutical analytics, and that's why I applied for the same program. I applied to 4 universities, in fact, when I started my application, and luckily I got into Kingston. And since I met the professors directly when they were here in India, that gave me more confidence to choose the particular university, and I went by that. So this is my journey, and in fact, it was a great journey, I would say, at Wales.
So, did you get any scholarship for your thing, or you spent your own money? What was the thing?
Yes, so I got a scholarship of £5,000 for my masters, and the remaining I went for partial loans and some from my parents' savings. So that's how I plan my funding, because funding is important. As I said before, students might think the banks are giving loans, but then we have to repay that. So students should also keep in mind that the amount of loan they are going to take they should be able to repay that, and they should be able to bear the cost. That is very much important. So with me, it's more about scholarship plus bank loans plus my parents' personal funding. So it was a mix of all the three.
Yeah,
Okay.
I heard that many during the after selecting the masters or any program, the students can offer some part-time job for 2 hours or 3 hours per day, by which they can either in the university or outside the university. Is that applicable in all countries or in any particular countries?
Majority of the countries are allowing students to work part-time, up to 20 hours a week. And for example, Canada, US, UK, Australia, Germany, all these countries are having part-time job options. Because as an international student, we should also look at means to support ourselves. At least the amount that we are getting from part-time will help us to pay our rent, or will help us with our monthly shopping, buying groceries. So part-time jobs are allowed by majority of the countries while students study there. But I would also want to talk a little bit about this, because most of the students will think I can go there and I can earn and I can take care of me, but that's not the reality, because the amount we are earning will be very much sufficient maybe to pay a partial rent, or to help with our minimal expenses, but we cannot have a sophisticated life with the part-time earnings. And some students will concentrate on part-time jobs and they will lose out on the studies. But when their main intention is to go abroad to study, once they see money coming in, once they start earning, they will lose out on the studies, and they don't realize that this education is going to help them get into the full-time job and help them get into a better job. But they don't realize that. Instead, they will concentrate only on part-time jobs. So these are the common mistakes which students do after going overseas, which can be avoided to a lot. But part-time jobs are there, but stick to your timelines. 20 hours a week means work for that, or slightly less than that. And the main notion of students is to complete their masters and get into a proper full-time job that helps them in their career journey across.
Okay, over to Dr. Satish.
Yeah, my question is a very pinpoint question. You told about loan or own savings money, or whatever it may be. If most of the students who are wishing to go abroad are belonging to middle class or upper middle class or somewhere around that, so I want to know what will be the approximate cost they have to, or expense they have to reserve for this. Or it may be varying from university to university and place to place. I agree with that. Still, for 1 year master's course, what will be the usual or approximate fee, and what will be their total cost of living apart from that, and what other expenses they can expect? A little bit, can you have a split up on that and throw a light upon it? It will be very useful for the interested students.
Absolutely, sir. So for a 1 year program, the approximate cost will be anywhere between 12 to 15 lakhs. And when it comes to living expenses, I would say around 5 to 6 lakhs a year is sufficient. Because most of the students, even in my case, if you see, when I went there, I shared my space with other students. So, we went for we rented a whole house, but then we four were staying in that house and we were sharing the rent. So, if we look for shared accommodation, we can bring down the cost. So, on an average, around 6, 7 lakhs for living expenses and 12 to 15 lakhs for a 1 year program. That's how the cost is. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we cannot give an exact split up. It is practically impossible. But if they have a knowledge, that will be better for them, for their planning.
Exactly.
That's what I asked. And my next question is how the life will be there if a candidate is taking a 1 year program, master's program, how he starts and how his life will be for next 1 year. And can you share some experiences in your life and to motivate them?
Absolutely, sir. So in fact, students, if you see my own experience, the moment I landed in London, it was entirely a new experience for me. Meeting new people, getting myself used to their way of speaking. A lot of things are there. Beginning from mannerism, the way we present ourselves. Saying thanks and sorry and please for every sentence that I use. We should start using these words. The culture was an important one. From India, if you look at going abroad to other countries, there is a huge cultural difference, and we should be able to adjust to that cultural difference. Of course, time difference in us another thing. Back in our family members will be 5.5 hours. We will be ahead of them, and that's another one. The classes will be usually 2 to 3 days in a week. It will not be like an entire 5 day week there, especially for masters. Students will be studying maybe 2 to 3 days in a week, and even in that, the entire day is not back. Maybe in a day, they study for 4 hours or 5 hours on campus. So students should have very good time management skills. They should, because if they're also working part time, they should manage everything, working part time, going to the university, attending the lectures. And in India, we are, used to that spoon feeding way of things. We have been told by our elders as well as our professors to do things, but there we should be on our own. We cannot expect someone to be with us and teach us to do this, do that. We have to be open-minded. We should be ready to receive feedbacks and comments, and we should be more ready to interact and speak to others. And networking is key. That's something which I learned there. We should network as much as we never know where our next job comes from. Because their universities don't have the option of campus placements. In India, we have the term called campus placements, but outside we have to look out for the jobs. We have a career development team in universities who helps us in looking for jobs, but they won't come and give us job opportunities. That's not going to be there. So that is important. Students might think, hey, if I study in US or UK or Canada or wherever it is, the university will give me a job. That's not the case. We have to go and find out our jobs. They will help us in finding jobs, but job guarantees are not there. Job assurance will not be promised by any universities. We should utilize the sources available. My university had a huge library, and we should utilize the opportunities available. And so far in my tenure, we read about mass spectrometry and all other equipments and practical exposures, but there we got an opportunity to see them alive, and we can work with them. I was able to see various equipments on campus. So these are the what do you call
Life
things,
experiences.
life experiences, exactly. So
Okay.
students should be ready to learn from each and every experience they get. That's going to help them succeed in their career.
Okay. You said about the word stay back option. Stay
Yes, sir.
back, whether it is really a dream for many students, when they start their education itself, they start dreaming about staying back, particularly in countries like USA. They think about green card. To that
Yes,
extent,
sir.
their dreams are there. So if they are planning for and stay back, how they should get prepared in their studies, or how during that 1 year or 2 years program itself, how they should build up their platform, or on what way they should approach their studies.
Yes. So when I talk about stay back, the government is other countries, they are giving an opportunity for international students to come and study, and after that to work in that country to gain practical exposure before coming back to India. So that's how the notion of stay back comes in, and students should meet various requirements put out by the government in those particular countries to be eligible for the stay back. And first and foremost thing is completing their studies on time, and getting a master's degree. That is important, because if a student, let's say, goes to UK or US or any other country, and if he's not doing well in his examinations and failing to get a master's degree, he's not eligible for a stay back. He needs to come back to India. So students who are looking to go abroad, it's not just the abroad dream, but it's also to put in efforts and get a master's degree. And second thing is they cannot overwork their part-time opportunities. The government is giving me 20 hours a week. I should stick to the timelines. If I work for 25 hours a week, this will impact my stay back option. I will not be eligible for a stay back. Some students might not think on that scale. They will think, hey, I will getting good amount. Let me start working for more than 20 hours a week. Who's going to see me? But each and everything is being monitored. And this will impact our long-term prospects. So, and students should apply for the stay-back visas well in advance. At least 6 months before their course completion or 4 months before their course completion, they should start applying for this stay-back opportunities, and then they can apply. The stay-back tenure will be usually for 2-3 years, not more than that. So after that, if they want to remain in the particular country, they should continue working, and the visa will be converted to a employer-sponsored visa. The company where we are working, they should sponsor our visa to stay for further duration. And maybe with a certain amount of time after that, they will be eligible for green card or all other different residency permits. So these are all a longer perspective in case if they are wanting to stay in that particular country for many years.
Okay.
So, Anthony, since you are working for an Australian university,
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so in what mode you help the students to get admission? What is your exact role? So, in what
Yes.
ways, not only for any Australian university or for any university you work, so what is your exact role? How you guide the students to get into admission? What all you expect from a student?
Yes. So I, in fact, meet a lot of students in India, through various fairs and various, sessions. I get to interact. In fact, I visit various universities and talk to the students as well. And the few takeaway points I would like to tell students is, and the way I help them is to understand their profile and guide them accordingly. Which program to choose, whether the particular program they are planning to take will help them in their career prospect. So these are the areas where I pitch in, I come in, and I provide my expertise. I guide them on, what are all the documentation process, how to apply for a successful student visa, and whether this program is suitable for them in their long-term career prospects. So this is where I come in and I guide the students accordingly. Because students will
Regarding,
have, yeah, yeah.
please continue, please continue, please.
Because students will think, okay, fine, my dream is to study in US or in UK or in Australia. But the next question I ask, what are you going to study? They are clueless. And if I start asking them more questions, they are not aware of that. For them, it's all about going outside India, but they don't have a clear vision on what the particular program is going to help them out. So this is where I come in. I guide them. I provide more information to them about the particular university I work for and tell them why they have to choose this and what are their future and long-term career goals if they go in this path.
Okay. So my next question is regarding the career opportunity for PhD. Sir, how a candidate, for example, a candidate who completed a master's degree in India, how to prepare for getting an admission for PhD? What are all the documents they may require, and what are the other eligibility conditions they have to fulfill?
Yes, sir. So when we talk about PhDs, there are three types of PhDs. One is a fully funded PhD. The students don't have to pay anything. The entire cost of the research, including the stipend, will be taken care by the university. So in this case, the university gets the funding from a government body. So the government funds the university to do the research. The university will look out for international students who are having a similar research interest, and they will recruit them. And another one is partially funded PhD research. This means the university will pay a little, pay half, and the students have to pay half. So both the contribution will be both from the university and from the student. This is partially funded university. And the last one is, we have to pay for the entire PhD tenure, maybe 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. There won't be any support outside, but we have to pay from ourselves. So usually students should think which type of PhD they want to choose, and this helps them. If they're looking for a fully funded PhD, then they have to look out for universities' websites. Usually in their careers page, the university will list out all their academic careers. So by this academic careers, I mean their PhD projects available, postdoc opportunities. They will list out various opportunities. And if the students' areas of interest is similar to that, then they can directly apply to those universities. Most of the university websites will have a form called EOI, Expression of Interest Form. So they have to fill up this expression of interest form. And in this EOI, there will be a question mostly asking for, do you have a relevant guide or a mentor? So for that, the students should first go to the university's website and find who are all the various professors doing a particular research in that area. And then they should fill up this EOI form and share it with the university. This will go to their university's academic team. They will scrutinize the students' research project, and this is where if the student has good number of publications, it really helps. The project helps, the role in particular project and what type of project it is, that helps. And if he has publications, that really helps, because university will see what are all the number of whether it's an international journal or it's a national journal. They will see the importance of publications in that. So students looking for PhDs, I would encourage them to have a good publication list and a very strong research topic, because during they submit the EOI, they should also submit an abstract of their research, what they are planning to do. So when it comes, they should, yeah. Yes, sir.
So when it comes to the PhD admission, it's slightly the focus shift towards the capabilities of the students' side. So in addition to the other legal formalities like getting a TOEFL, GRE, in addition to that, the focus is slightly shifted towards the capability of the student, including the research capabilities, the strength of the proposal, what he puts, and what is the contact he could able to establish with the university, and how far he could able to publish his publish his research works already he carried out. All those things are a little bit affecting, or it is having an impact over the selection process. I think so. Am I correct?
Absolutely, sir. Yeah, even the references, we should give them two references, and that should also be very strong. The referees should give a very strong recommendation to the prospective university faculty team. Yeah.
So one more important question I have to ask here: what they will exactly look in this recommendation letter? What they expect from that? Many students, sir, I need a recommendation letter. Simply stating that they will bring their formats also. So actually, I'm interested to know what the universities are expecting from a teacher, from a mentor in that recommendation letter.
Yes. So in the recommendation letters from the university's perspective, they will see how good the student is, not just on academics, but on other areas as well. Whether the student is able to understand and, how is his capabilities to function independently, not purely depending on a particular professor. Because, students who are looking to go overseas, as I said before, they should be more independent. They cannot just rely on a particular professor to give them more info. The students should be able to think on their own and act on their own. That is very, very important. And from the in the recommendation letters, these are the key points which we look at. What is the student's behavior in class? How is he able to cope up stress? How is he able to work with a team? Because they're doing a research, I have to interact parallelly with 7 or 8 people, each from a different nationality also possible. Here in India, we mostly talk to another person who is again from in India, but there, the cultural diversity, that's where, we should be able to succeed in that. Students should be able to interact with people from different nationalities. I cannot say, hey, I don't want to interact with a particular set of people. That's not acceptable at all. So students should be ready to work with people from different countries and different nationalities. So what is the students' interaction with other people? So these are the key areas they look at in a recommendation letter.
So in brief, it should not only reflect the academic, but also it should reflect his personal capabilities also. Absolutely. So that it will be given entire picture about the candidate. That recommendation letter must be in such a way that it should cover both the academic as well as the personal aspects of the candidate, so that it will be very useful for the university to judge whether the candidate would be able to complete his course successfully.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's the personal capabilities as well as the professional ethics the person has will help the faculty to decide on a decision and tell them whether he is eligible or not. Yes.
Okay. Once the application process is over, what will be the selection process? How much time it will take for the most of the universities to select and send an admission letter to the candidate, and how much time the candidate will get between the selection order of getting the order for admission and for physically available in that university? How much time the candidate will get? All those things, can you say?
Sure, sir. So for master's degree, usually the time taken between application and getting a decision will be done within 3 weeks to 4 weeks maximum, not more than that. But when it comes to PhD, it can take longer. In fact, majority of the PhD proposals for that cycle to complete, the expression of interest to be accepted, the professor going through the prospective applicants' details, and then they will do a interview. They will conduct an interview. It can be through Skype. Majority of the interviews will be through Skype. And this is to get more a picture on the prospective applicant's capabilities, to understand what is his research goal is. And then they will be giving a decision. So for PhD, the turnaround time usually will be around 6-7 months. It can be around 6 to 7 months in general. Yeah, it's higher compared to a master's application. Yes, sir.
My question is, you are talking about that statement of purpose, SOP, that should be written in 500 words. Okay, can you throw a light on that? content should it? What is the difference between an SOP and a letter of recommendation? SOP is like a resume or something like that.
Yes. So a statement of purpose is usually written by the student, and this is a very good tool for a university to see how the students' writing capabilities are. See, I have a lot of vision, and my reason to study abroad can be a lot of reasons to do it, but how I'm going to write everything within 500 words, that is going to be a challenge for each and every student. You know, and this is where this actually reflects our capabilities to publish, or to write our final project as well, because we do a lot of research, but what the research findings that goes in our final thesis, that matters a lot. So for this SOP is actually a sample. So in the SOP, from the university side, what we look at is why the student want to do in a particular subject. Whether is he having a relevant flow in that. From B pharmacy, let's say a student is doing a pharmacology. Why has he chosen pharmacology as a subject to pursue this as a higher studies? That's number one. Number two, see, usually most of the students will write about the particular university. See, I know about my university. So the students writing about a particular university is not going to help his SOP stronger. Another one is the students will write why a particular country. That is also not going to help. Writing about a particular university or a particular country can be avoided, rather than write about the student's accomplishments, what he did in his 4 years of pharmacy. Whether he was involved in any group, or is he doing something in parallel. So this is what we want to learn. We want to learn more about the individual students' career goals. Why has he chosen this particular subject, and how this is going to help him in his future career path. So these are the areas we look at.
So one small question I want to put to you. You told about sometimes the interview will take place through Skype for PhD students, and how the interaction must be, in what way the student must be prepared for that live interaction with an professor abroad.
Most of the questions during this interaction will be around the abstract submitted and the research publications, because the PhD scholar, the guide wants to know about the publications. What was his role in a particular publication, and in the abstract, what is he trying to find? What are all the different ways he's utilizing for this particular project. So these are the areas they want to understand. And of course, they also want to talk in general about the students' personal capabilities. Again, coming back to the previous point, whether is he able to function independently? Because parallelly, a guide or a mentor can support 8 to 10 PhD students as well, and he needs to divide his time to all these students, and he cannot focus on one particular project. And they will also see how good this particular student is in assisting the professors in writing for research grants. That is also important, because when it comes to research grant, it needs a collaborative approach, so that the PhD prospective students can also guide them on or give their views on points to write a research grant. That is also important.
So it's almost 1 hour today, and it was a very good listening to Mr. Anthony Joseph. So
Thank you, sir.
actually, many would have got a clear picture, because in the chat box also I can see that it was a very good brief information about international education and very good information. So these are the messages popping up in the chat box. So actually, it is a very good information, especially the second slide and the third slide. It summarize the whole concept. If a student want to pursue his higher education abroad, what are the things he should be ready to get qualified, and then he has to approach the particular universities. So this was actually, and since you have also done higher education in foreign university, and you're also working for a foreign university to take up the students, it was very impressive, and the audience will be very happy to learn from you. So I think it was a wonderful show tonight, and it's over to Dr. Satish to give us concluding remarks on the show.
Yeah. Thank you, Anthony. I have to thank him because I put a lot of very pinpoint questions to him because of the interest of the students who are really looking forward for opportunity in abroad. That is my intention, and he very patiently answered for all those questions, and I'm really impressed by that. I think that the students who are all looking opportunities abroad for education might have been enlightened a lot by this talk show. And one thing I want to specify at this point is, dear students, when you are having a goal to have an education abroad, you prepare yourself in the third year itself. If you are a B Pharmacy student, you prepare your mentally and physically from your third year itself. And if you are a PharmD student, 2 years earlier itself, you can before your final year, you can prepare mentally and physically. That means mentally and physically in the sense academically, you should be strong enough. Basically the selection is very keen on the individual's capability, individual's academic strength, individual's personal skills, communication skills, everything is being evaluated there. So you have to grow these skills. If you have a real goal, you work hard towards these things and you can make up everything. Don't think that I'm from a Tamil medium in my +2 and how I'm going to improve my communication skill in English. It's a very simple thing, and if your real hard work can eliminate all those small patches in your life, all those can be eliminated very easily. So dear students, dear professionals who are looking at this, please think that you can do it, and a lot of people like Anthony Joseph are there to help you and give hands to you and lift you up. So they are all real ladders for in your career. They can act as a very good supportive system in your career. So please prepare yourself earlier itself so that you can achieve all your goals, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
So it's our wonderful talk show tonight, and as usual, we will be getting back to you on next Sunday with a more informative session and some other different new topics. So it will be useful for the aspiring pharma graduates. And it's time to wish Dr. Satish his happy birthday because he's having his birthday tomorrow. So
thank you very much. It's a pleasant surprise for me.
It was a birthday on 27th July, that's tomorrow. So on behalf of all the Facebook viewers, I wish him a happy birthday. So that's it for tonight. Thank you. And thank you, Anthony, for joining us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye now.